This is the spot where I took my favorite photo from 2022, but more on that later. Hey guys, how's it going? Today we have another video from the 48-hour series, and this time we're in Lisbon. For all the Fuji fanboys and girls out there, you're gonna be stoked because I shot all of the stills using the XE-4 and also quite a lot of the video too. That means most of the B-roll you're gonna see is from the Fujifilm, and it's shot in 8-bit 4K using the Eternal profile. In terms of lenses for this photography trip, I used the XF23mm and the 18-55mm pretty evenly throughout the journey. To kick things off, I ran with the 23mm f2 and just started snapping away at some fun street photography style shots. These are the kinds of shots that only happen when you walk around the city, like people ordering food, people texting a friend, and even people painting the sides of buildings. This type of photography is what I would call life photography. I'm noticing that being used quite a lot recently, and I think that's a great way to describe it because it doesn't really fit into just portraits, just landscapes, just travel. It's a combination of everything. So it's like everyday photography and life photography, and to be honest, it's my favorite kind of photography. Alfama is a beautiful spot in Lisbon, potentially the most prettiest, but it was here that I did capture this favorite shot of the year. I can't show you it just yet because there's still a little bit we need to get through before that time of day. One thing that stood out to me was the fact that the colors were really helping highlight my subjects. So the color of people's t-shirts were quite bright in contrast with the background, which was also quite bright. It was a really cool scene to photograph and something I really enjoyed about Alfama in particular. Moving to one of Alfama's prettiest spots, there was this amazing little viewpoint called Miradouro de Santa Lucia. This quite literally means the viewpoint of the Santa Lucia church that's up there. Also, a word of warning, this spot is incredibly romantic, so be careful who you take there, and also try to avoid all the countless influences in the area, like pointing at imaginary text with their little tripods. And so at this lookout, I managed to capture a bunch of different shots that weren't just of the view. So there were people selling jewelry, people playing music. There was this guy playing the guitar who was honestly a 10.
Oh, Lord.
And so I had to capture him because he was looking really good right there. But then there was also a ton of other things going on. So this viewpoint that we got to is actually the spot where I captured my favorite photo of the year, but this was still in the early afternoon and the light was really harsh. So I convinced the girls that we had to come back to this Miradouro de Santa Lucia because the view at sunset will be incredible. So we decided to head back to the Airbnb, have a little siesta, and then take some food and wine back to that spot to enjoy dinners, but so also I could photograph this location. After our siesta, we went and picked up some pizzas, and the reason I'm telling you this is because I managed to get a few shots of the girls, and Chloe especially, holding the pizzas outside of this really good looking pizza shop. I don't know, it just looked like a really cool ad for the pizza or Uber Eats or something like that, and I wanted to share the pics because it was really fun to actually get creative for something that wasn't actually just street or travel. After we made our way back to Alfama, I had to quickly rush off because the light was incredible. I'm sure you as photographers can agree that when the light is looking so nice and you can go take pretty pictures, you just want to do it. It's a real bad curse. I feel you miss out on, being in the moment, but sometimes you just want to rush and get it. And to be honest, I am so glad I followed that photographer instinct to go get this shot, because here is where I did capture my favorite shot of 2022, and here it is. So thank you for waiting to see this photo. I hope the build-up was worth it, because this is honestly one of my favorite shots from the trip, and also from 2022 because I think it's a really great showcase of my style. You've got such vibrant colors coming from the building. It's like a coastal European city, and although it is quite like a busy scene, I still feel it has like a clean and soft look. I remember when I took this shot and I looked at the back of my camera, I was like, holy shit, I need to take this like 10 more times. Like, we need to make sure we get this. So I tried it with a bunch of different settings, but overall I got it and I was stoked. I did also capture a few different types of compositions from this little lookout at that time. So I got a few portrait style, and I kind of turned left and right to see if there were any other kinds of things, but this was the main shot that I was really stoked with. Also, by the way, I did edit this with the MLV Pop preset, which you can download for free on my website. I'll leave a link below and you can go check that out. But where we were, we kind of realized that we had perched up in what was looking like a skate park. And I don't mean any skate park. Apparently this is like a very famous spot for people to come from around the world to skate. We started meeting a few of the skaters there, but again, the photographer in me struggled to enjoy the moment because all I wanted to do was get my camera out and start photographing what was going on. We were treated to this awesome show of skateboarding and I was filled with emotions of jealousy because they looked awesome. They were so cool, they were skating around, they were sharing food and drinks, and I was like, I want to be that. But either way, I did what I could and I captured some portraits of the guys that we met and also a few detailed shots of what was going on. So day 2 was a little bit more chilled, but I want to share with you the images we captured from a place called Sintra. So Sintra is about an hour's train ride away from Lisbon, and it's where all these beautiful castles are. There's a lot more history, I'm not going to go into it, but either way, from a photography point of view, the one thing to notice is the colors. Sintra has a bunch of castles that are bright red and bright yellow, and so photographing it for me was great. But the only problem was that I think half of Lisbon went with us as well because it was so busy. To get to some of the castles, we had to hike up, and this is where the Fujifilm really stood out because it was so light and easy to carry. And so we had my Fujifilm, a few coffees, and we just photographed, the parks and what we could find around there. By the time we got to the castles, it was chaotic, like there were so many people. So I wasn't gonna get the shots I liked, and to be honest, I put my camera away because I wasn't really vibing the scene in general. There were so many people running around, there were so many influencers posing, there was a lot going on, but in all of the chaos, I did manage to get this shot of this cool old guy just, enjoying himself. He was getting yelled at by his wife, but he couldn't give a shit, so he was just, enjoying, and I thought that was a really cool frame to capture. I got a few more shots at the top of the castles, but after a little bit, we were kind of overwhelmed, so we headed back to town and we made our way back to Lisbon. It was this afternoon in Lisbon that I decided to head out on my own and just try and photograph some classic street shots and just enjoy the city as a photographer. I managed to capture some really cool street art which stood out to me so much as I walked around, and also a classic shot of the yellow trams that drive around all the time. This was probably the best one from the night. I love the family overlooking the city. It was kind of exactly what we were doing, but I managed to get a quick shot of them. I tried underexposing a little bit in this shot because I didn't want the background to blow out. I knew that this shot needed some sort of background so it could showcase what the people were actually looking at. So underexposing a little bit whilst in camera really helped this image. There's also a shot of this guy just chilling, rolling a cigarette on the side of our B&B, which I thought looked absolutely cool. I just really like the tiny subject with the big kind of building in the background. So that was another really great shot. If you're interested in seeing more of these 48-hour series videos, I'll leave a few around me and you can go check it out. But either way, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.